going to have a very fun show. We have a different segment tonight to start off with, so let's get started.
Welcome to Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, the fastest growing sports talk show in the country. And now, here's your host, Jasmine Pollock.
Welcome back to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. And we're going to jump right in. We're not doing Pollock's points tonight. We're going to jump right into the segment we're going to talk about. So this past Friday, me and Jeremiah and Tamar and a lot of different other students and a lot of amazing people in the sports industry, we had a sports summit and shed light of, what's the future to come of what the sports industry looks like with African Americans and just giving us exposure to many different amazing people who are in the sports industry currently. So, Jamal, let's bring you in. What was your reaction to, interviewing Jacques McClendon and us just having that experience of meeting a lot of and hearing a lot of great insight on people who are very talented in the sports industry?
Well, first, let me say, when it comes to that whole summit, it was very informative, and I really enjoyed interviewing Jock McClendon. Getting to actually interview somebody that's actually in the function of inside an organization, especially a professional organization, sports organization like the Rams that just won the Super Bowl. Getting his insights and also talking about the Knights Commission and everything that surrounded it. It was such a good, warm feeling because although these are older people at the end of the day and everything like that, it was still almost like talking to a great friend just right off bat. And I can say just from watching your interview also, Jasmine, and even the other ones that was all around, and me and the other women that was from Pittsburgh, getting that knowledge, and also seeing them showing so much love and their advice to us younger and the younger generation coming from behind them, it's such a big thing. And I take this as I go, especially within my life in college and also in my future as I keep growing.
Yeah, I agree. When I interviewed Andrew Stocky, it was an amazing experience, and I really enjoyed getting insight from somebody who's inside of the industry already. And I thought it was a phenomenal. I thought, I was really nervous because I'm like, this is someone that's, in the industry. He has experience. He's interviewed a lot of big people, and even I did my research already before, and then right after I did my research, and I interviewed him, and then I went to dig a little bit deeper, and I found on YouTube he interviewed people like Mike Tyson, just a lot of big people. He was on Ellen. That's a pretty big deal. So I was really happy to get that experience and be able to talk to somebody in the industry and give insight to and give advice to what we should do as we head into our careers. And one thing I took away was definitely networking and knowing different people. And I thought it was really cool. So Jeremiah, when you interviewed Jacques, I noticed how in tune you were and the research that you put in, and that's very important when you're interviewing people, is making sure you have your research in hand. What experience was that like? What was the process like for you interviewing him and doing your research, and what caused you to do your research so in depth?
Well, first of all, what caused me to do my research off the bat was actually getting to know, who he is, what kind of person does he like, what are his interests, and also what he want to talk about at the end of the day. Because I know so many times I can go and just give him some plain questions. Oh, how does it feel to be around this person, be around that person, or getting up, being around this organization. But at the end of the day, I wanted to kind of be focused on him, his function of how do you make your magic work when you're doing inside your workplace, and also when you step outside your workplace, how are you on your daily time, especially in your Knights Commission, giving back to the other college kids and kids that's like me at the end of the day. And speaking for someone that's actually still African American and everything, it was such a huge thing because
Mhm.
when I was taking down these questions, it wasn't just about getting them out the way. It's actually me doing the certain research and me caring enough to know cater to him in a certain way. That's why it was so fluent. Actually getting to talk to him, actually, it coming off the back. I know it was very nervous at the beginning because I didn't know how it was gonna come off. I didn't know I was gonna stumble, but right off the bat, he made the interview feel very comfortable, especially with his answers and with me asking the questions. It was such a relief.
Yeah, I agree, and I really enjoyed that interview. I thought you did a phenomenal job just making sure you're doing your research and just making sure that you both had a conversation rather than you just asking him a question, he answers, and you jump right into a question. But I want to do a special shout out to Tamar for what he did in interviewing Coach Irby. That was the interview after mine in between me and yours. And I thought he did a phenomenal job as well with his interview and him, having a long conversation and really getting those deep conversations in and those deep questions, allowing Coach to answer them to the best of his ability. And it's always a pleasure to see, fellow students, doing this, and it's just a great thing for the culture actually, and it's a very good thing for the industry to get that we all three of us were able to single-handedly interview someone and be able to get insight on the industries that we're in. And I think that's the sweetest thing about being in college, the sweetest thing about being having networks. You never know 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, we're able to have these conversations again with these same people and we're in different realms. And I know, and I want to thank again Leon for this opportunity to, of course, Leon and a lot of different people who made this happen. I'm really thankful for that. And it's just, it was like a bittersweet moment. I'm just very thankful, even to Joel as well. He made this happen. But Tamar, one of the biggest things I
Yes.
got from him is how in depth Crochet is, even though there's certain things like, oh, I didn't think I was going to be here and I ended up being here. I never thought I was going to be over PBR professional bull riding. And it was like,
Yes.
you never
Everything
know
coming
what
into place.
avenues, right? You never know what avenues that could take you. You could be thinking you're going this route, and then it takes you completely somewhere else because you might be talented in one other area that you weren't aware of. So that's
Right.
one thing, and I really enjoyed the summit a lot, Jeremiah. And what did you get from the women that Joel worked with? Blair, and I want to say I forgot her other name, but I know one of them was Blair, and I forgot the other woman's name. But what did you think about that situation? What did you think about them talking?
One word, and it has to be powerful. Especially with African American women, especially in that industry that they're in, plus being also in Pittsburgh, so much history right then and there. I am so happy I got to see that interview with both of them. They do so much for their organizations, and also when it comes to inside their community, when it comes to Miss Holmes and also Miss Moreau, like the things that they do behind closed doors. I know it's for a lot of things for the organization, but you can tell just from how they speak, from how the way they carry themselves, this is stuff that they really care about. Doing a lot of things for our people, for the different, like I said before, the communities, and kind of giving back, and plus being a big force inside their own careers as well. You can just see from the start to finish. It wasn't such an easy road, but
Right.
they explained just how they conquered it in such a big way. And I took a lot from it, and I'm so glad I got to even ask some questions afterwards, and just how they made a lot of things happening even during the tough times of the pandemic and everything.
Yeah, so their names were Delvina and Blair. And one thing I got from them, and me and my father talked about this before, where in Pittsburgh, you notice that a lot of women, especially African American women, are in the sports industry, and I was really shocked by that, and it was just very inspiring because it was I see a lot of diversity in Pittsburgh, especially in sports. So I was really excited to see two strong Black women come up and speak so highly of the organizations that they work for and how they work so well together, and that's the biggest thing. Like there's always the question of, can these people work together? Can they, be successful? And yes, we can. And I think when we shed light on these industries and we shed light on these summits that we had on Friday, it shows you that there's a lot of African American youth that are coming up and are trying to be in the sports industry and not just be the athlete, but be around the athlete, broadcasters, management, marketing. There's a lot of different things. So I was really happy to be a part of that, and I'm happy that we got that experience. But that wraps up this segment. We're going to head into LeBron James being booed, and should he have been booed? After that, we're going to get into a quick break. Be right back.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it?
Slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack. From the creative team that brought you the Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
You're watching Jasmine Pollock's First Impressions Sports Talk. Be sure to join Jasmine every week for great conversation on the NBA, NFL, and a wide variety of sports topics. To see past episodes of First Impressions Sports Talk, go to YouTube and search First Impressions Sports Talk. You can connect with Jasmine on LinkedIn by searching Jasmine Pollock. And now, back to more First Impressions Sports Talk.
Welcome back to First Impression Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jasmine Pollock. And just to wrap to the night, let's talk about LeBron James being booed by the Lakers. So, Jeremiah, let's bring you in. Now, there was a whole debate. We always talk about these Lakers. I don't think they're good at all this year, but let's talk about it. Should the Lakers fans boo LeBron James?
Well, I know when it comes to Lakers Nation, they are a very passionate organization. From start to finish, you already know they are the Lake Show. So I can understand they had a lot of high expectations going into the season, having Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, and a lot of different veterans on there. You heard from the media, oh, this is not going to go well. But then the fans like, no, we're going to believe that it's going to go well. But it's going worse than we thought.
It's going terrible.
And what also with additions, with Russell Westbrook and everything else, you can say, especially getting blown out by the Pelicans, how they did, it was such an embarrassing fashion. And, after that turnover, that's when the booing start, when LeBron did that pass and everything that's like that. I can understand the boos from everybody else. But for the Lakers fans, the last person that you should be booing right now is LeBron James. Not saying that, LeBron has his flaws at some points. When he's playing his game, he doesn't have a huge night. Just like yesterday, he had a couple of turnovers. Well, a lot of turnovers, same as Russell Westbrook, which is unlike LeBron. But at the same time, I would not boo LeBron James if I was the Lakers fans. That man right there, not to mention he gave you a chip for the whole Lakers nation. But at the same time, he never cheats you at the end of the day. This man comes in and clocks out, and you already know what he's going to bring. Not to mention, this guy is in year 19, and he is years old, playing harder than everybody else that's on the team. And because, you can say, he's stat padded and everything else that's like that, but he is still showing energy while he's out there. I know a lot of times, can hang their heads and everything else that's like that. But I would just say don't bite the hand that feeds you at the end of the day. I know things are going bad right now, but I still will never count LeBron out. And I don't think that the Lakers should do that either.
Yeah, I know before the season started, when we heard the reports of Russell Westbrook coming back and them signing Carmelo Anthony, a lot of veteran guys, we thought this team was legit. Like, oh my goodness, like, you're seeing a whole group of guys who we thought who deserved rings, be able to get an opportunity to join forces with LeBron and AD in LA. And at first, I thought it was going to be a good fit. I thought that LeBron was going to be able to talk to Westbrook and probably get him out of some of his dysfunction on the court. And I think it just ended up going from bad to worse with this team. I think they don't have a sense of direction. They're not cohesive at all. I think everyone you have so many stars on one team and they're all like, they're in their own world. They don't play good defense. It's just low energy. It's like it's just sad to watch because you see a lot of these guys. Carmelo Anthony was once one of the best players ever on the court at a point in time. Russell Westbrook, one of the best point guards at a time. LeBron James is still LeBron James, and then Anthony Davis. There's a lot going on with this team, and like you said before, I don't think the Lakers should have booed him. You should boo the if you're gonna boo him, you need to boo the whole team. Boo the organization because they didn't make any moves to get to try to put this team in a better spot than what they are right now. And I think LeBron has done a lot for this team. I think he made the team relevant again. He brought this team back to a culture that it once was before. And I think it's very, disrespectful of Lakers fans, but I understand they're diehard Lakers fans.
Yes.
They're a very passionate fan base. And I can understand that. I'm a part of I consider myself a part of a big fan base, the Packers and stuff like that. And we get very passionate and there's nothing wrong with it. But I feel like LeBron has done a lot. He's done a lot to bring the Lakers to this status. There wouldn't be a Russell Westbrook or Anthony Davis over here if LeBron wasn't there, I believe, because LeBron brings a lot of those guys around. But this team right now, even after the season, I think this team is going to break up. I think people are going to get fired. I think a lot of people are going to just quit. I just think the way the direction is going for the Lakers is just not in a good direction. And to me, I thought the plan would be that okay, LeBron wins a couple in LA, and then maybe he retires and AD takes the torch. That was one of those people thinking that, but
No.
obviously it doesn't seem that way. I don't know if AD is prepared for that role or if he's even interested in being that alpha male in the locker room on the court because he's still injury prone. He still gets injured, and it's just I don't know what to say. But Jeremiah, we talked about this last week after my show last week about LeBron James's future. What is his future going to look like? We hear talks of him playing with his son, wanting to play, alongside his son. Where do you think LeBron is headed? Even him mentioning Cleveland, saying, that's not off the table. What are you thinking of what LeBron James' future looks like?
Well, when I think of LeBron and his future, especially his location, I already know when Bronny gets inside, draft prospects and everything else that's like that. Every team is going to try and be in his ears saying, we're gonna try and get him, we're gonna try and get him so we can get LeBron. Now, you're
Right.
looking at a 40 or 41-year-old LeBron, which is not bad because we can say, as I was very old, I don't even know he can still walk. I mean, you see what he's doing at 37 right now, keeping his body in shape, and I know he's going to keep himself poised for when that moment comes. But for the destinations that he very much loves right now is of course Cleveland or either Miami. He likes to be around great weather or be where it's mostly home to him. So
Hmm.
I would know that when it comes to him, I would feel that he would maybe want one of those teams to kind of pick Bronny up and to kind of lean into that that situation and everything that's like that because to be honest with LeBron right now, he is just mostly playing in mostly his happy mode. He wants to just live life right now because you can also say he's all about the stats and everything and always about winning. Of course he wants to win championships, but also he's not taking for granted these certain memories that he has and everything else of wanting to do more, playing with his friends. You saw what he did with Wade, you saw what he did this year being with Melo for the first time, and although it's not what he wanted it to be, but these things fall into play because I feel like when it comes to LeBron, he just wants to, enjoy his time being in the league. He doesn't want this to just pass by and just always trying to chase and chase. But I also think that he wants to win. But at the same time, I don't always think that he wants to chase. You can see what he does in LA right now. Made the movies and also just enjoying the scenery and different shows and everything else that's like that. So if anywhere he's gonna go, it's probably gonna be somewhere that's hometown.
I agree. And for me, when I look at LeBron James wanting to play with his son, and it's a phenomenal story that I think would be amazing to see. And you saw growing up, LeBron didn't have a father figure. It was just him and his mom. He was the only child, and his mom did, she pretty much put him on her shoulders, and now he's in conversations of being the GOAT, obviously. Like he's I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that he's in these conversations of being the GOAT and just being the top 10 all time. Just this man has paved the way for a lot. He's done a lot for the game of basketball. And just for him just not having a father figure in his life and just to see wanting that feeling of playing next to your son, and your son is next in line now. I would love to see that. I would love to see LeBron, with his son. I think it would be very good for the league. It would be a very good story. That's something that, even in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever seen, out of my years of living as I can remember watching sports, a prominent athlete like LeBron James and his son coming in, kind of him passing the torch to his son, like, oh, now you take over. I don't think I've seen that in my lifetime watching sports. But you never know. That could lead to other athletes, saying, hey, Dad, I want to be like Tom Brady has a son or sons, and he could say, hey, I want to be the best quarterback here, Dad. I want to do this, Dad. Just a lot of different things. And then you look at the Manning brothers. They have their nephews coming up. He's a quarterback and he plays basketball. You never know what that could lead to, but LeBron playing alongside his son, I think that would be a very, very good look for the league. But that wraps up tonight's show. Thank you, Jeremiah. It's always a pleasure of having you on the show. Thank you, Leon. Thank you, Jay, for the production. Thank you guys for always being supportive and just giving me so much inspiration. I'm very thankful for all of this. I'm thankful for the summit that we attended. I want to do one of those again. That was actually a very fun day, just getting a lot of insight, getting a lot of information that is very going to be very helpful for me and Tamar and Jeremiah in the future and other young students coming up in the sports industry. That wraps up tonight's show. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. See you here on Monday at 9 p.m. Bye.